Right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a great week, or I hope you guys had a great weekend so far. Today, we are going to go over how to find your ideal client or aligned client. All right. This is the person, like, if you had to pick one person that was perfect for you to book travel for, that is who this is. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you know who to tailor your marketing to, how to tailor your marketing, and you can build that whole like profile for that person in order to focus on marketing from there. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see my notes app? Feel free to unmute. Yes, yes. Okay, perfect. All right. So, well, first, we want to talk about what is an aligned client or ideal client, right? Like I mentioned before we started recording, you'll hear me use aligned client and ideal client pretty much interchangeably throughout this whole training, just because they are basically the same thing. It's just a different word, right? So, an aligned client is someone who is a good fit for the niche, service, and type of travel you serve and sell, right? So, you want to think about what type of travel do I want to book the most, right? What type of client do I want to sell to and serve to, right? You want to start thinking about that, start kind of brainstorming that. And an aligned client is someone that's going to be in partnership with you, who respects your time, energy, and boundaries. Okay. Because we all know we have those clients that will call, text you any time of the day, or email you any time of the day, blow up your phone until you respond, right? That's not an aligned client, right? You want someone who is going to respect your time, your energy, your boundaries, what you are doing for them, right? And when you are able to do it. Okay. They're willing to work alongside and partner with you in a respectful, relational manner, following your lead through your sales process because you are the expert here. You are the business owner, right? I'm not going to go to my hairstylist and say, hey, I want you to do my hair, but you have to do it in XYZ way, right? I'm going to go to my hairstylist and say, hey, I want you to do my hair and then shut up and let her do my hair, right? Because she has her own process because she is the expert. That is the same thing here with us, you guys. We are the travel experts, whether you're day one or day 5 million, okay? We are the travel experts. Even as a day one agent, you have access to all of the same tools, resources, knowledge, all the things that everybody else does in our company. Okay. So you also have that mentorship. You have those tools and resources to go to, whereas a consumer does not. Okay. So you are the travel expert. You are the business owner. You have your own sales process. And if you don't have your own sales process, then that is something you need to work on. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far on what an aligned or ideal client is? And feel free to type in the chat or unmute. I do have the like picture, the videos minimized just so I don't get distracted, but feel free to type in the chat or unmute. No questions? Okay, cool. Let's move on then. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over things to consider when determining an aligned client, right? And then we're going to go on why you need to find one. And then I'm going to show you guys how you can find one, right? How you can create that client profile that we were talking about. So there are several key things to consider when determining what an aligned client looks like for your business. You want to consider your expertise and experience, right? The client's travel, ooh, whoops. The client's travel needs and goals should align with your expertise and experience. So if you are wanting to niche down and book cruises only, right? If you only want to book cruises and somebody comes in with like a Disney request, is that an aligned client? No, right? Can you still book for them? Absolutely, if you choose to. Again, you are the business owner, right? You are making the rules here. So you don't want to like or this example too, like if you are specializing in luxury travel and someone is coming to you looking for budget-friendly options, is that an aligned client? No. Can you book them if you want to? Absolutely, right? But you always want to keep in mind while you're qualifying your clients and going through that process, is this somebody that is an aligned client or not, right? And you can choose, okay, if they're not, do I still want to book with them or do I want to say no to this for this time? And then your target market, right? So, there we go. Your target market. The client should be a part of your target market, right? Because so if you're doing luxury, right? Are you going to go for maybe like a college student? Is that going to be your target market? Probably not, right? Because college students notoriously are not traveling luxury unless they are one of those 1%, right? So this means that they should have the same demographics, interests, and values as your aligned client, okay? So another example, if you specialize in adult only vacations, but a prospective client wants a family trip, that's not an aligned client, right? Again, can you still book them? Absolutely. That's up to you, but that's not an aligned client. And all of these key things are going to be part of that client profile that we're going to put together, okay? Personality and style. And feel free to take any screenshots, you guys. Oh my goodness, there we go. While I have this up. The client's personality and style should be compatible with you. Is that always going to happen? Absolutely not, right? Because there are so many different personalities and types of people and all the things. But again, you're thinking of that perfect person, right? If you could mold a client or create a client from scratch on how you want them to be, that's what we're talking about, right? This will make it easier for you to work together and build that strong relationship with your client, okay? Business goals. The client's travel needs should support your business goals. So if you are trying to build a business on destination weddings, then you would want to start targeting clients who are attending bridal shows in wedding Facebook groups, maybe at dress salons, right? Bridal salons, whatever the words are, right? Those are types of places that you want to start targeting, right? In order for your marketing to reflect your business goals. You also want somebody who is going to appreciate your value. Okay. The client understands the value of your service and is willing to pay for them, even if you do not charge a fee, right? And if you guys don't know how to build value as a travel agent, let me pull my planner out. Tasha is actually teaching a training on that later this month. Um, on the 28th, you guys, at 5 p.m. PST, Tasha is teaching a training on building value as a travel agent. Okay, that is going to be very, very important. If you're one of those people who are like, well, I don't even know why somebody should book with a travel agent, that is going to be a very important training. All right. In between now and then, I would say do some research, right? Talk with ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT is going to be your best friend. Brainstorm with it, right? Figure out what value you can bring to your clients. Okay. And part of that, I actually will show you guys in this aligned client profile on ChatGPT that I created. Okay. You also want somebody that is trustworthy and reliable, okay? They are going to be someone who can be counted on to follow through on their communication, understand deadlines, and responds with respect, okay? So they're not someone that's going to be ghosting you or hard to get a hold of or doesn't want to, sign something or authorize something on time, right? They're going to follow, again, your sales process and they're going to be working with you throughout this vacation, okay? And maintains open communication, right? Kind of goes hand in hand with is trustworthy and reliable. They're willing to communicate openly and honestly with you about their needs and expectations, and you're communicating openly and honestly with them as well, okay? They should also be receptive of the reality of their vacation needs, budget, and vision, okay? So if, let's say, they're wanting some extravagant vacation and they only have like $2,000, they're open to, okay, I know this is probably not realistic and I'm open to adjusting, right? By focusing on your aligned client and focusing your marketing on your aligned client, you can build a successful and sustainable business. Okay. Now, again, it does not always mean that you are going to be booking your aligned client. Because again, we're talking about the perfect person here. That's not always going to happen, right? That's just the reality of the world. But when you are focusing your marketing on that person, then you're going to get those people more often than if you're just marketing to everybody, right? So I really want you guys to, after this training and after I show you guys how to do this, take some time and really envision who your aligned client is, right? It's just one person, or maybe like I think my profile is like a couple, right? But just one person, maybe a couple, right? One specific client, really the perfect client, okay? That you would be, I would want to book this person every single time, right? They can travel to different places, they can have different family dynamics, but your aligned client is one person who makes your business joyful, right? It brings you joy thinking about working with them, okay? You don't ever think negative thoughts when they text you. You get excited, you get happy, things like that, okay? If you want to specialize in one type of travel, then that is also going to be part of your aligned client, right? So you want to think of, if I had to book one type of client for the rest of my time as a travel agent, who do I want that to be, right? And that is going to be who your aligned client is. Now, why do you need to find your aligned client? Well, we've kind of talked about this already, right? But the more you can understand and connect with your aligned client in your messaging and your marketing, the better equipped you will be to effectively market, serve, communicate, and sell to them, right? Because again, we are a service. So if you have in your mind, okay, this is who I want to serve, the more effective you will be, okay? And the more that if you're more effective, then the more likely they will continue to book with you and even refer you to their friends and family, right? For both of you to have an amazing experience, your aligned client will be someone who has the attributes that you envision, as many attributes that you envision as possible, right? Because again, nobody's going to be absolutely perfect, right? But effectively serving your aligned client leads to loyalty, referrals, and an easy to maintain relationship. Okay, this is a huge part in keeping your clients and getting those referrals. All right. Before we dive into the actual building of the profile on ChatGPT, do you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about what I want to like kind of focus more on, and I'm thinking like Caribbean and Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been trying to like learn about places. Should I do that? Like I feel like I should have like knowledge. Like so somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, what about this?" I can be like, "Hey, the food here, if you like this kind of food and this kind of vibe and this kind of," to give them a better idea of what they're buying because I'm
Yeah,
selling a product.
absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely. Especially, guys, if you guys are wanting to niche down into something, furthering your education on that is going to be really important in niching down, right? Because you're going to then become the expert in that specific niche rather than having this broad knowledge, which is not a bad thing, right? But if you're wanting to niche down and you further your education in that, you become that expert, that is going to really just help your client trust you with that type of travel, right? So it's definitely not a bad thing to do some more research, some more maybe trainings on different destinations or different types of travel, depending on what you want to niche down to. Any other questions before we start building that profile? Alrighty, let's get into it then. Okay, so I'm gonna also send this to you guys. Let me actually put it in the chat. It's a little all over the place, to be completely honest. Um, but I'm gonna walk you guys through what it actually looks like and what parts to focus on. And then I'm also in the recording, I'm going to upload this to YouTube and have this in the description of the training. So you guys can always go there as well. Okay, so this was when I first started, wanting to figure out who my aligned client was. I was wanting to kind of redo my business, right? And re-niche into a certain type of travel. So this is kind of how I started the brainstorming process, right? I said, I need help figuring out who my aligned client is. Now, I will preface this by saying my ChatGPT is pretty trained for me and my business. If you're new to ChatGPT or you haven't really trained it much, you want to be as specific as possible. So you want to prompt it as much as possible. So I would add in here like something along the lines of, I need you to act as a travel expert, right? And or a travel business expert. Okay. I would add something like that in first. And then give a little bit of information about who you are, what you do, what you want to focus on, the types of people you want to help, right? That's kind of what you want to be doing. Okay. So I need help figuring out who my aligned client is. I know I want to help people experience stress-free and luxurious vacations without all the added stress. I provide full itinerary building and trip management planning. So all my clients have to do is show up and enjoy their vacation. I want to work with people who are not focused on the amount they're spending, but more focused on the experience they're having. I'm open to working with people from all walks of life and all different situations, but I just want to focus on the people that will value me and my services and are not looking for a quick, cheap vacation. I want to specialize in white glove concierge service. In the white glove concierge service I will provide for my clients, and I want to focus on travel types like high-end all-inclusive resorts, Europe, Asia, cruises, and theme parks. Okay. So I kind of had like this is why I'm telling you guys, I want you guys to kind of envision who you want to book for, brainstorm a little bit on your own before going to ChatGPT, because the more information you know about what you want to do, the easier ChatGPT will be able to help you, right? So I kind of already had like an idea of what I wanted. I just kind of needed help putting it all together. Okay. So it says, again, I already have the heart of my line client nailed down. Okay. So then it's going to help me create that, right? So my line client is someone who prioritizes experience over expense, time and energy, the service, memories, and meaning, right? They're likely to be professionals with full plates, empty nesters, or retirees, high achieving women or couples, multi-generational families, or theme park lovers, okay? They're emotionally motivated by just wanting to show up and enjoy myself. I don't want to worry about anything. I want everything done right and elevated. I've worked hard for this. I want it to feel special, right? So those are the feelings I'm wanting my clients to have, okay? My line client is not people shopping based only on price or people who just want a quick getaway with zero frills, DIYers who want to just pick my brain and don't value my time, right? We all have those, the window shoppers, right? Or people who don't see value in itinerary planning or concierge style service. So that's what I'm not wanting to focus on, right? My specialty types that align with my aligned client are high-end all-inclusive resorts, Europe and Asia cruises, and theme parks, right? And it kind of breaks down what that looks like. Sample taglines and identity phrases are going to be luxury travel planning for people who want to show up and enjoy, white glove vacations curated with care. I help busy, like, so some of these are like, okay, I'd probably break them down a little bit more, right? And then it gives me questions on how I want to, like, what I want to do next, right? I want to then identify my needs, their needs and pain points on how to attract them. Okay, so we're kind of going to go through this, the first draft, and then I'm going to show you guys how I adjusted it a little bit when I got a little bit more information on aligned clients, right? So it's going to give us the core characteristics. It's going to give us their pain points. So they're overwhelmed by options. They don't have time, right? They're scared of getting it wrong. They just want something easy, okay? And they're skeptical of generic travel agents. Now, I don't really know what that would be. I don't really know anybody that is skeptical of generic travel agents. I don't know what that means, but that's an option, right? It's then going to give me their needs. So different things that they are needing. This is what I can focus my marketing on, right? I can focus my marketing on their pain points and their needs, okay, to attract them, right? And then how to attract them, right? Speak to their desire and ease, show off white glove experience, use story-based content to paint the picture, be clear about who you're not for, create a signature process. Okay, so this is your sales process that I was talking about. Infuse luxury travel types into your content. And then again, so then we can start moving on. So this is where I first started, right? This is, I think, what I did in the last training, the last time I did this training. Then I got a little bit deeper and I went a little bit deeper into that aligned client to create that whole profile that I was telling you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna skip this whole Facebook stuff. Because you guys we can always do this later. Where does it start? Okay, this is still the Facebook stuff. Okay, now we're creating that perfect client example, right? So we've created a little bit of info about our aligned client, right? Their needs, their pain points, but now we're really focusing on creating that perfect client so that way we can, again, tailor our marketing even more, okay? This is that profile that I was talking about. So I put, help me come up with a perfect client example. I want someone who is focused on luxury, high-end travel, either a family or a couple, but someone who responds promptly, listens to me, and respects my value and opinion, right? That's what we were talking about before in those key component or those key things to look for, right? They provide prompt payment info and anything requested from me. They pay my fee without hesitation because I do charge a fee. And then I want to answer these questions about them, right? And I list a bunch of questions that are important to their demographics, right? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are their hobbies? Do they have children? What do they do for a living? Are they married or in a serious relationship? How old are they, right? Because once I understand all of these characteristics of them, I then can then know how to target that community, right? Because I know their demographics, I know where they'll be, I know what type of work they'll do. I know how to target them, okay? So how old are they? What are their professional and personal and professional goals? What are their daily challenges that keep them from doing the things they want to do? What kind of activities do they spend their time doing when they aren't working? I want to also come up with a few attributes of my aligned client and then imagine them on vacation. What are their expectations of the vacation and the service I provide, right? Because I want to know what would they want from me, right? That way I can, again, put that in my marketing. What is the budget I would tell them? I would tell what, whoa, I would tell them what allow, wow. What is the budget I would allow them to have for the experience they want? Okay. Then I want to consider what their biggest challenges are when it comes to travel and how I solve them. What services and outside the box thinking can I do to make my aligned client's life easier? And how can I serve and help my aligned client have the very best travel experience with me? What do I offer my aligned client to make them feel special, happy, and well taken care of? Right? So again, this is going to help me get all of those little ideas in my head onto a whole, like all put together onto a whole profile for my clients. Okay. So it's going to create that. It created my aligned profile. They're the Prestons. Okay. This is their last name. Let's call them Alyssa and Daniel Preston. Okay. They're a couple in their late 30s, early 40s who represent my dream clients. Okay. So this is my dream client. Now I can obviously swap this to be a family or a solo traveler, whatever the case may be. What do they look like? Polished but not flashy. It's literally giving me a description of if I were to see them in person, this is what they would look like, right? Think Lululemon and Apple Watch on the plane, but designer sunglasses and pressed linen by the resort pool. Okay, they value quality over labels. Think quiet luxury. So I'm not having, in my words, okay, in my words, when I read this, I'm thinking, okay, so someone who has higher income but is more humble, right? They're not entitled. They're not thinking that you guys all understand, do you guys all understand what I mean when I'm thinking someone who has higher income but not entitled? Do you guys all kind of have a person in your head?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That is what I'm thinking when I read this, right? So that is my ideal client, right? What do they sound like? Confident, respectful, efficient. When they reach out, they say things like, we'd like to take someone to take this off our plate. We trust your expertise. What do you recommend? Let me know what you need from me to move forward, right? Those are key. I'd love that. Okay. They don't haggle, they're responsive, clear, and kind, and they appreciate being spoken to with the same level of professionalism and ease. Do you see how much more detailed this is getting now? and how this is going to help me really tailor the words in my like in my social media content and in my marketing to reach these types of people. It gives me their hobbies and their lifestyles. Things again I can put on marketing, whether it's wine tasting trips, right? And different places I can go to try to partner up with, see if I can put flyers up in boutique fitness studios, wellness studios, any things like that, right? They like cultural events so that I can market cultural events in or different cultural places that have different events going on. They love discovering new restaurants, things like this. So this is going to help me figure out where I can go to market in my community, on social media, things like that, right? What do they do for a living? Well, Alyssa is a creative director at a mid-sized agency or a healthcare executive with flexibility. Daniel is a tech consultant, financial planner, or a real estate investor, right? Or, we could also flip it, right? Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm going to get a tissue. So this is again just giving me more information on who they are as a person, what their life looks like in order to really tailor that marketing to them, right? Their relationship, do they have kids? They may have one or two, right? But mostly they're married or in a long-term relationship. They don't have kids and they're fully leaning into their travel. Or maybe they have a small family, like one or two kids, right? What age are they? They range from 35 to 48. They're financially secure, but they want value time and quality over just, something just to get away, right? It's giving me their personal and professional goals, their daily challenges, right? This is going to be super important for me to know what I can make content on to attract them. Okay, so what can I help them do, right? They don't have enough hours in the day. I can take on the whole planning process. All they have to do is, again, show up, right? Their decision fatigue. Okay, so that helps me know when I'm maybe creating my proposals, I'm not going to give them too many decisions, right? Maybe I'll give them one or two options. That way they don't get more decision fatigue, right? They want to travel, but they don't want to do all the planning. Perfect. I can come in and solve that, right? When they're not working, what are they doing? Boutique workout classes. Now these are different places that I can go to go start marketing, right? Even if it's just going there, starting conversations with people that are at these different workout classes, farmers markets, shopping centers, all these different things, right? There's so much that I can use with just this information with marketing to find that client in person, right? And their attributes. So these are different characteristics that I would want them to have. Imagine them on vacation. It's going to give me that whole breakdown, right? Their expectations, their ideal budget, what I would recommend their budget to be, right? So now I'm looking at bigger trips, okay, that are going to pay me out more commissions, right? So that's kind of what I'm focusing on, right? Their biggest challenges with travel, again, problems that I can solve. Okay, this is going to be important when creating social media content, problems that I can solve, how I solve those. All right, so now I don't even have to think, okay, how am I supposed to solve these problems because ChatGPT just told me how to solve them, right? How I can go above and beyond. So again, you guys don't have to come up with your own ideas all the time. You can brainstorm with ChatGPT. Let this give you a few ideas and then take your own imagination from there in order to be able to go above and beyond for your clients, right? And then it's going to ask me what I should, like, what I want to turn this into to have like a full thing. I also want to know what their yearly income is. So it's going to give me their yearly income, right? To know can they afford these types of trips that I'm wanting to book for them, right? What time of year would they prefer to travel? So that way, again, I can market, right? Those types of trips. I can really focus my marketing on spring trips, winter trips, right? Summer trips, whatever their preferred time to travel is. Luxury families, different summary by season, right? Travel focus. So in January to February, I can focus on tropical or wellness, right? March to April, I can focus on family travel, cruises. Like I can focus my marketing based off of the season, based off what ChatGPT is telling me they would prefer, right? Then I can use this again to schedule sales pushing, send reminders, all of these things. Okay. It's giving me tons of information on how I can be the best travel agent for my aligned client. Okay. What countries would they like to visit? Right? Where do they want to go? It's going to give me a bunch of those. Right. Then again, these are places I can focus marketing on. Okay. All of these different destinations. What would be on their wish list? I want to be as detailed as possible, right? So it's going to give me the types of accommodations, the types of flights and transfers, the different features of the trip, different food and drinks, experiences and excursions, extras and other details, right? Even budget and expectations. It's going to give me all of that information that I can then tailor my marketing towards. Do you guys see kind of where I'm going? The more information I get, the more I can create social media content, I can create flyers, I can go market in my community at these different places, right? And then what are their additional values? What do I know about them that they would really value, outside of what we've already discussed, right? Time freedom, exclusivity, so I can help them feel a little bit more exclusive by VIP access to things, right? Maybe upgrading perks, right? Things like that that make them feel more special, right? Trust and professionalism, connection, quality over quantity. So maybe they don't take 10 trips a year. Maybe they take 1 to 3, but those 1 to 3 are going to be higher budget and they're going to be very special, very exclusive, right? Things like that. Wellness and ease, legacy and celebration, security and confidence, right? And then what is their absolute favorite thing about travel? Again, things that I can throw into my marketing, right? I can make a post on relaxing, freedom to relax, reconnect, and be fully present. I can make a post on how this feels, right? For the busy professionals, luxury family traveler, or wellness and celebration seeker, right? I can make different posts on that. Like a little, you could do a little like POV B-roll, right? Reel or TikTok of POV. I love watching my kids experience the world, right? And you could do something like that. Okay. So it's super, super simple to create those, right? What is their least favorite thing? Wasting time, mediocre, disappointing experience. So you could do POV, you have the perfect trip, you would take the perfect trip and you didn't have to plan any of it. Something like that, right? That's probably not the best hook that I would actually use, but it's one that I came up with off the top of my head, right? But you guys see how you can start creating these into social media posts to show how you can solve people's problems, right? I want to find out all of this information. What is one thing they always do on their vacation? Again, it's going to give me more information about them, more social media content that I can create, right? Or more flyers that I can create to post into my neighborhood, right? And then what is something they would never do, right? So then again, I can create reels like, oh, you don't have to wait in line or something like that. Like a video of someone, like of a line at a theme park, like, oh, you don't have to wait in line because your travel agent booked blah, 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 right? Whatever we end up writing. Are there any other factors that influence their life or travel preferences? So it's going to give me all of that, right? And then I can use all of this as well. Okay. And then it's going to turn, I had to turn it into like a little paragraph so I could actually like process it. Because at this point, you guys can see this was a lot of information. My brain was shutting down. So I was like, all right, I need this like, and not in a whole list of things, right? And then I'm like, you know what? Let's go even further. Okay. And I want you to help me come up with why do I want to serve them? What unique value do I bring? And what is the best way to connect with them? Right. Because I may know these things, but let's actually put it into that paper, right? Let's make it real, right? And add that to the profile. So it's going to then tell me why I want to serve them, right? What value can I bring that maybe I might not know, right? Best ways to connect with them. Okay and fully envisioning any extra details. All right. Then it's gonna, I had to put it into a paragraph as well because I was like, this just isn't making sense to me. So I had to put it into a paragraph as well. Right. And then I started creating like my whole consultation calendar process, which I will kind of go over a little bit in my training on, I think, Wednesday, converting DMs to consultations. Um, do you guys have any questions about aligned client, the information you want to know about them, how to use this to create marketing materials, anything like that?
Yeah, I do have a question. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily with that question that you just asked, but like I said, like I'm trying to learn about different places. Like yesterday, I was learning about Santorini, and today I'm going to learn about what's it called in Turkey. There's a place yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and my question is this too, like how would you specifically for people like this, like a higher end clientele that are a little bit more discerning, how do you go about picking the right hotel? Do you go by like do you go by guest experience or do you go by rating? Do you use both? Do you just research the hotel and see like do you think it's going to fit them with the amenities offered, that sort of thing, or
So I
like
kind of do all of the above. I mean, that's really part of the qualifying process. You want to get to know them and what they're looking for and all of that stuff. I do believe that we have a training coming up on that soon, qualifying your client, and then you use the information that you've gotten from qualifying them in order to see what hotels are matching their requirements or
okay,
their
okay, thank you.
preferences. Does anybody have any questions? We'll let you know. Yeah, feel free to you guys message me on Facebook or go ahead and text me. Let me put my phone number in here too.
I've actually got a
Just
question.
leave me your name when you text me and just let me know who you are. But let me know if you guys have any questions moving forward. Did somebody say they had a question?
I did. I was I was really glad to hear you say something at the beginning um, about doing bridal shows and things like that. Um, I'm fairly new, getting started here after a couple of months, and I've been to Vegas like just personally like 15 times, and I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, you could probably really, focus on that if you wanted to. And I've done some cruises and things like that. But I was really glad to hear you say that because I thought going to a bridal show or a women's fair, something like that to, you know, people want to do girls trips and
Mhm.
honeymoons. So I was really glad that you said that because most of the people I've seen so far, um, and I'm sure it varies from person to person, but I've seen a lot of all-inclusive people focusing on that and cruises. And I was a little nervous about throwing the Vegas thing in there. I know people like to go to Vegas. I didn't know if that was a good focusing point or if there was, you know, money probably not as much to be made as an all-inclusive, but that's kind of what I was going to focus on.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of glad that you mentioned the bridal fair stuff and
Yeah,
stuff like
absolutely. And there's definitely a lot of money to be made in Vegas. If I was doing Vegas alone, I would focus on like the higher end resort or the higher end like hotels and higher end clients, right? And then obviously like they have tons of different events going on all the time in Vegas. You could always market those and things like that too.
Yeah, I've got a bachelorette party, a girl that I know that's doing it, and there's like 10 of them going out there, and they were talking about doing variation of resorts and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, man, you need to go to the nicer ones so I can make some money off this. But I didn't actually tell them that, but I'm thinking that in my head, and yeah, so that's good to hear that you're saying that there's money to be made out there because I kind of figured there was, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, cool, very cool. Thank you so much.
Of course. Carlin, yes, you can get tickets for shows in Vegas on Golden Tickets. I'm sure you could also check out Viator and maybe even Expedia Tap. I recently found that they have like tickets and things like that on Expedia Tap. So I didn't, it's been almost 4 years and I had no idea that those were on there. So you learn something new every day, I promise. But yeah, you can definitely check out those different things. Alrighty, any other questions, you guys?
I'm sorry, Haley, it's Janet.
Hey.
Hey, so I'm here in Vegas, guys. And so there's even additional way to make additional um, money with Vegas. And it's an app. And one of It's Welcome to Las Vegas, Earn and Learn. So I'm trying to get you guys on it. So when you book, say, a hotel or you book show tickets or what have you, you can log in and put your bookings in here and they will pay additional money. But you know, I'm not the best on the phone when I'm
I love
uh,
that.
here. Let me type it in. And also, it's on, it's too early in the morning. Oh my God, who does the Halia? Who does all the Saturday trainings? And the big, oh my gosh, Halia.
The certificates,
Yeah,
Marnie?
I can't think of her name.
Yeah,
She has
Marnie.
a whole training on it. Like she has training on everything. Like,
The certificate workshops with Marnie.
yes, thank you, Marnie Hernandez. Thank
Yes.
you guys. I'm so sorry. So um if you can, I'll put it in the TK Facebook,
Okay.
her link to that. And so anything that you're looking for, especially Vegas or specialty destinations, you can look for her trainings on it. So you guys can tap into multiple ways of making money and servicing the client.
Perfect. I love that. Alrighty, guys. Do you guys have any other questions regarding aligned client, ideal client, anything like that?
Janet, thank you for that because I was a little nervous about doing the focusing on Vegas, but you and Halia have made me feel so much better about that now. So I'm gonna check that out. You're gonna put that on the TK page, you said?
Yeah, she does.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Of course. Alrighty, you guys. Like I said, message me on Facebook, text me if you guys have any questions. Once this flips over and is done processing, I'm going to post it onto YouTube and then post it into the Travel Knowledge Facebook group. So then you guys can also have access to that ChatGPT thing for the aligned client profile, and you can use those prompts to create your own. Okay. Alrighty, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday for converting DMs to consultations. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.